So the big story in America right now is the murder of this healthcare CEO. He's the CEO of United Healthcare, which is one of the biggest health insurance companies in America.
How big is his company?
They make billions. I think they make like billions per year. The
Do you know his salary?
It's like over 10 million a year this guy's making. Big money. He's only been the CEO for not too long, but when he took over, profits started going up, right? So this guy has developed a lot of systems, a lot of methods to deny as many claims as possible. And these insurance companies, they're dirty. They will try to make their policies as hard to understand as possible so that they can try to deny as many claims as possible later on. So if I get United Healthcare, I pay them, let's say like $500 a month, right? I broke my leg, I go to the hospital, I send the claim to the insurance company. The hospital sends them the claim. They can say, no, we're not paying for this. This isn't under your coverage. We only cover broken arms. Sorry, you should have read this fine print better. Then the hospital's like, oh, they're not covering this. You owe us $10,000. So essentially this guy, this company, this healthcare system in America is responsible for thousands, if not more, deaths and pain and agony and prolonged diseases, right? Okay, so this CEO, he's leaving his hotel. His hotel is in New York. His hotel is in Manhattan, New York, one of the, most wealthy, popular places in America, right? It's early morning. I want to say it's like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., right? It's still kind of dark out, right? Like the sun is just barely coming up. You can see this on the video. The CEO, he's kind of walking out of the lobby, and this guy just enters the camera frame. He just walks up, pulls out his gun, calm, cool as can be, and just starts shooting. Like bam, bam, bam. His gun actually jams. He unjams it, keeps shooting. Totally unbothered, right? So I actually thought, I was like, man, this has to be like a professional. This has to be a hitman, He looked very cool, very calm under pressure. We later learned that the CEO had dumped a stock, so like maybe some other very rich people were mad at him. So I thought, okay, this must be a hit. People on the internet are debating though, right? Maybe like his parents got denied coverage. Maybe he got denied coverage, Maybe he's just like a scorned customer of United Healthcare. Who knows? We have no idea, right? One of the first things they find is the bullets. They pull the bullets out of this guy and they have words written on them. Deny, depose, and defend. In his mind, those are like the three tenets of the insurance company, right? Then they eventually find the guy's backpack and it's full of Monopoly money. So people are like, who is this guy? Like, he seems like he's kind of smart. He seems like he's toying with the police a little bit, right?
It's like a movie.
Yeah, it kind of reminds you of a movie a little bit. It's a little bit exciting, right? So at this point, you go online and you're reading about this and you read the comments and everybody's like basically rooting for this guy. Everybody's saying like, oh, we killed that CEO? I don't care. I hope more CEOs get killed, right?
That's a very interesting point because normally if someone has died, people are rooting for the victim.
I can kind of understand, right? Are you sad when Pablo Escobar dies? No, these guys are terrible people who killed many, many people. Now this guy, Brian Thompson, did he directly kill anybody? No, but indirectly he's responsible for a lot of deaths, right? I feel really bad for the guy's family and especially like his kids, The children are innocent in this. They lost their father. It's terrible. Yeah. So it's kind of like a conflicting feelings on this matter, right? But at the end of the day, I think the consensus of America is we don't care. We're not crying over this guy,
So this killer became kind of like a hero.
To some people, yes. A controversial figure at least, right? But some people are calling him a bit of a hero. So this killer, he has kind of like a Robin Hood vibe, right? Steals from the rich and gives to the poor, right? So he's kind of like, he's fighting for the underclass. He's fighting for the poor people in this country. He's fighting against the greedy rich CEOs, right? That's who this guy that's what his reputation is now online, right? Everyone's kind of cheering for this guy.
They started to cheering for this guy before they knew
who he
was?
Everyone's hoping he doesn't get caught. Everyone's rooting for him to not get caught. Yeah. Anyways, this guy gets turned in by, of all people, a McDonald's worker. A McDonald's worker sees this guy calls 911 and says, hey, I think the shooter's here in this McDonald's right now. He's eating McDonald's. So he got betrayed by his own people. You know, the people he was fighting to protect betrayed him. So when he was checking into his hotel in New York, he had to show them his ID. The girl at the counter said, can you pull down your mask? And he pulls down his mask and he kind of smiles at the girl, you know, and that's when they got a screenshot of his face. Also, another thing I want to say, they put out a reward for anyone who has information on the shooter. The reward was like $50,000, which is like so insulting.
Why is it insulting?
It's such a low amount of money. Health insurance company who's like killing and robbing money from people, making billions of dollars a year, and then to add the insult to injury, they're like, yeah, we'll give you $50,000 if you find the guy.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, they easily could have given like $1 million, but they just offered $50,000. Very small amount of money, in my opinion. And the irony is that since the McDonald's worker called 911 and he didn't call the tip line, he's not even going to get the reward. It's just so sad. So, yeah, people are saying now we're not going to eat at McDonald's anymore. We're going to eat at Burger King. Anyway, so they catch this guy at McDonald's. He has on him the murder weapon. He has a written, basically, confession. He has his manifesto. I think he had some other stuff on him too. It's a little bit suspicious, but yeah, so they find him. He's got all the evidence on him. I don't even know why the hell he's at McDonald's in the first place. Like, just call Uber Eats. You know what I mean? Like, you're so close.
Maybe he wanted to be caught.
Maybe he did. And maybe that's why he had all that stuff on him. Definitely a possibility. Now the question is, like, who is this guy really, right? Like, what's his background? And it's very interesting. Actually, he grew up near where I'm from in Baltimore, Maryland. He went to a very nice private school. He was the valedictorian of his class, which means he had the highest grade point average in the whole school for his grade. He went to the University of Penn, which is an Ivy League school. So this kid is very, very well educated, very, very smart. And I don't know every detail of his life. I know after college, he ends up living in Hawaii and hanging out with people there, and he becomes like a surfer bro, I guess. He gets into a really bad accident while he's surfing, and he like breaks his spine, and he has to have this really terrible like spinal fusion surgery, and apparently after this, he's just living with chronic pain. And he writes about this in his online blog or whatever, and at some point, he just disappears. His friends don't know where he is. His family doesn't know where he is. They reach out, they call him, they can't find him. Turns out he was living in Japan for like roughly a few months, I think, and he was just kind of radio silent. And then next thing you know, he shows up in New York and he shoots this healthcare CEO. I just think maybe that like having chronic pain, you don't sleep well, you get kind of agitated. I don't know. His friends said that like he became different after that injury. It changed him. He became a much darker, depressed, angry person. That's what they said. But it's an interesting story to follow. And now apparently CEOs of a lot of companies are like upping their security for their CEOs, especially healthcare companies, you know, and they are getting worried. They're getting scared, you know. It seems like a lot of people, like the temperature is kind of rising, you know.
Are those companies, insurance companies, especially United Healthcare, are they making any changes after this?
Not that I know of yet. I think they've just upped their security. That's what they've done. It's just still early. We'll see what happens. I honestly don't expect them to make any like changes to benefit people right now, but...
Okay, so what's wrong with American healthcare system?
Typically when you have an insurance, they have what is called a network, right? Like a network of doctors that you can use, and you have to use certain doctors for different things. So it's like you go to one doctor who diagnoses you, then you have to drive 30 minutes across town to a specific x-ray doctor. You have to wait there for like 2 hours. Then you get your x-ray, and they charge you like $500 for that. Then you have to drive to another doctor to look at the x-ray. Then you have to drive to another doctor, and he's gonna actually put the cast on you. So it's just so much BS you have to go through, and it's expensive.
You have to pay for different doctors?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It takes like a whole day.
Yeah, at least.
But are they good? Are they worth it?
Yes, everyone did their job very well. I can't complain. But yeah, it's expensive. It's very like, what's the word? Just like a bloated process of unnecessary steps that you have to take. It is not for the benefit of the people. It is for the benefit of these companies making money.
Why is it so expensive?
I'm not like a total expert on this, but like the gist is that our government doesn't put any price control on drugs, so pharmaceutical companies can charge whatever they want to for drugs. Physicians have really high salaries, so them and hospitals, they sort of kind of work together. They charge really high rates too because they know that the insurance companies are going to pay for it. So they have no incentive to lower prices and compete, right? It makes sense for them to all make the prices as high as possible. And the insurance companies can then charge astronomical rates to cover this, and then they get to pocket a little extra cash for themselves. So the insurance companies benefit, doctors and hospitals benefit, and pharmaceutical companies benefit. But the patients, the American citizens, we do not benefit. The government is supposed to protect people from these businesses and these corporations, but in America that doesn't happen. Lobbying. A lot of these politicians are getting money from these people. A lot of them are friends with these people.
Why people don't do anything about it?
Well, it looks like we're starting to. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's sad that it comes to this, But I think he wrote in his manifesto, he wrote a lot of stuff. But one of them was like, peaceful protests are ignored, like yada yada. And it's true. Like nothing gets done in this country by protest anymore.
Do you think your country will be changed in any way after this?
You never know. Maybe not. From my life, what I've learned is that nothing ever really changes. But you never know. This incident alone probably won't change anything unless it sparks a bigger movement, which is possible. But, tell me what you think. Tell me your thoughts. Very interested to hear what everybody has to say about it. And yeah.